Hey folks, so today I'm turning on the camera in the kitchen and I am deciding to make dinner before I even have breakfast. So today I'm going to be making some curry flavored pork chops, and it's a very super easy recipe as I do with all my recipes, and I'll have the instructions on my website at plussizeinchicago.com. So the seasonings that I am using is some seasoning salt, some curry powder without salt, as well as some black pepper, some thyme, and some paprika. I am going to add some olive oil on both sides of these pork chops, and then I'm going to season each pork chop with the seasonings that I showed you one by one. I am not measuring this seasoning. It's rare that I do that. I will be measuring for the sauce, but for the actual seasonings onto the pork chops that I'm rubbing in, I'm just sprinkling a little bit at a time. And after I rub in that seasoning, I'm going to flip these over and I'm going to start the process over again by adding some olive oil onto the other side and then seasoning each pork chop with the seasonings that I showed before. Now the pork chops that I'm using, they're about a ½ inch thick. I've gotten these from Sam's Club. So the cooking times on this is going to vary. So these pork chops I am going to be cooking on each side for about 6 to 7 minutes each on each side. So if you have thinner pork chops, you may want to either cut the heat down or you may want to cook it for less time. So I've added some butter as well as some olive oil. And for these pork chops, I'm going to be cooking them for about 6 to 7 minutes on each side. Just making sure that I have a nice brown coating on each side. And so that color looks really good. And that's really the curry and the paprika that's allowing that color to be there. So while these are simmering, I'm going to also start my rice. So I'm using some jasmine rice. And because this is basically going to be like a serving for my husband and myself, I am just going to use the instructions that are on that package, which is 1½ cups of water and 1 cup of rice. And I'm adding 1 teaspoon to the water. Once it starts to begin to boil, then I'm going to start stirring in the rice. Now that the rice is in there, I'm going to stir it up and cover it, and this is going to be cooking for about 15 minutes on a medium-low heat. Getting back to the pork chops, they're brown on both sides now, and they're not completely done, but they are brown. I'm going to add them to a plate, and I'm going to cook up the next batch. So I'm doing like a total of 4 pork chops, and again, I'm just going to set that to the side. Now, everything that I'm doing here, you can also do with some chicken breast. I know some people don't like pork. So, if you don't want to do this with some pork chops, you can do this with some chicken breast too. So I'm checking on the rice and this is done. So I'm just going to turn this off and set it to the side. So the pork chops I've taken out, I've set them on a plate and I'm adding some sliced onions here. Now, anyone who follows me knows that my husband hates onions, but what I'm going to do is pick his onions out of his pork chops at the end of this. But so I've added like a tablespoon of minced garlic, and I have a seasoning combination here of curry as well as some chicken bouillon, and I have some brown sugar, and I'll have the measurements to this on my website too. So once I've stirred that up, I just want to make sure everything is in there good. I'm going to add in 1 cup of water, and I'm going to also add in a 1/4 cup of apple juice, and I'm going to add in a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Now, I've added this heavy cream here, but eventually I realized I was going to need another 1/2 cup, so this is a total of 1 cup of heavy cream. The other thing that I did was add some cornstarch, so there's a 1 teaspoon of cornstarch in there too, and that's just going to help get that sauce thickened. So I'm placing the pork chops back into the pan and I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to simmer this on a medium low for approximately 20 minutes. Once it's been cooking for 20 minutes, the sauce is going to thicken and it's going to be done. And then from there, you can add these pork chops on top of rice. You can add your favorite veggies with it, some asparagus, some broccoli, some spinach if you like. anything that you normally would eat. So my husband and I, we work 2 different shifts. So I've added his food into his plastic container, and I have my food in a nice little bowl, and which is going to be great. So when I'm finished working, I'm gonna take my shower, get my food, chill out, and watch TV, and that'll be the end of the day for myself. So friends, I hope you like what I cooked in the kitchen today. If you are a follower on any of my accounts, thank you so much for coming back. If you have not followed me on the platform that you're watching this on, click that follow or subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.